How's it going? This is Hoiman, and today we're taking a look at the S.H.Figuarts Shinkocchou Kamen Rider Agito ground form figure. Man, that is a mouthful. So for the front of the packaging, you have a nice illustration of the figure. Looks really nice. And then on both sides you have the name of the character, and it's nicely embossed in silver letterings. And then for the bottom and the top, you have the Figuarts logo. And then the back of the box, you have various pictures of the figure, and you have some legal stuff at the bottom. And overall, the packaging has a really nice soft textury feel, very similar to a mobile phone packaging. And overall, the presentation looks very professional. So to open the figure, just lift open the front cover. And then you have two trays that contains the figure. And then you just lift open the front cover. And there's the figure all together with its accessories. So first you do get some instructions showing what the figure comes with, and then just how to operate the accessories. So here's the actual figure itself, and as expected from Figuarts and the Shinkocchou line, the sculpt on this figure is just phenomenal. Really captures the look of the actual suit of the character, and all the detail you'd expect is pretty much present. And because this is a Shinkocchou figure, the detail and accuracy is even more show accurate to the actual suit. So looking at the head, they've definitely captured the likeness of the actual suit. Looks just like him from pretty much all angles. So first off, you do have the matte black, which is pretty much just molded in black plastic. And then you have the nice silver metallic paint that goes across his head. And then it ends with a nice metallic green gem at the front. And then you have the iconic symbol. And it's really nicely sculpted and painted in a nice metallic gold. And just like the instruction says, the tips are very sharp, so you have to be careful there. The mouth is really well sculpted. You can see all the panel linings, and then the eyes themselves are sculpted in nice translucent red plastic, and then on the underneath you have the nice metallic red texturing as well. And on both sides you have the ears, so overall it's a really nice sculpt of the head. And then moving down to the torso, again really nicely sculpted. You can see all the panel linings on the torso, and then the front part here is actually translucent plastic, and then you can see all the texturing and detail inside as well. And then the gold parts and silver again are painted in nice metallic paints. And it looks really nice in contrast to the matte black. And that's the same for the shoulder pads, really well sculpted and painted as well. And then the forearms continues to really nice metallic paints, and it's really well sculpted. And then the hands are really well sculpted as well. Moving down to the belt, there's just a lot of detail going on, so you have the nice metallic red and gold and the silver parts, but then the front of the belt you have nice translucent parts, so you can see all the detailing of the mechanical workings inside. And that's the same for the henshin buttons as well on the side. It's really well detailed. And then the back as well, really well sculpted. And then down to the legs. Again, it continues the nice metallic paints, and again it's really well sculpted and detailed. And then the shoes are nicely sculpted, and then there's even all the detail on the soles as well. So in terms of sculpt, it definitely captures the likeness of the character really well. So for articulation, the neck is on a double ball joint, so one at the base and one at the top. So he can look down about that much, quite a bit, but it does get a bit restricted due to the sculpt of the armor. He can look up that much. You can tilt his head side to side as well as twist. And then you move on to the shoulder, which is on a large ball joint that's connected deep into the torso. And then there's this separate piece that cups around the joint to help hide it. So overall you get a lot of range of motion in the shoulder. And then it's also on a hinge, so you can bring his arm out all the way to the side. And the shoulder pad itself is on a hinge, and it's also connected to a ball joint. So you can maneuver it however you like. So no matter how you pose the arm, you can adjust the shoulder to make it look natural. There's also a bicep swivel, like so. And then he's got double jointed elbows, lots of range. And then the forearm itself is actually on a swivel, adds a bit more range. And then the hands are on ball joints. For the torso, it's a double ball joint, so he can lean forward about that much, quite a lot considering the heavy armor. You can lean back about that much. You can lean side to side as well as twist. And you can actually pull the torso apart like so, and that allows for quite a bit more range of motion. For the hips, they're on hinges, so he can kick about that far to the side. Not really a whole lot, but it should be enough for the most part. You can kick forward that much, kick back that much, and then he has the thigh swivel. And it's kind of on the ball joint as well, so you can kind of maneuver it in many angles. And then he's got the double jointed knees. And then he's got the hinged ankles, so you can go forward that much, back that much. You can lean side to side, you can also twist. And then he's also got the toe hinge. So overall, despite the armor on this figure, he still has really good range of motion, so you should be able to get all the poses that you'd want. But that's the figure. Let's take a look at the accessories. So for hands, he comes with a pair of fists, a pair of open palmed hands, a pair of another open palmed hands, and then a pair of kind of relaxed open palmed hands. He also comes with an alternate head with the extra spikes, and just like the original head, these spikes are really sharp as well, so you have to be careful with them. But overall, it's sculpted really well, retains all the detail. So my final thoughts are, if you're a fan of this character or the show itself, then I can highly recommend this figure. I used to own the original Figuarts figure of Agito, and from my personal experience, this Shinkocchou figure is definitely a massive improvement, just in terms of sculpt, accuracy, and articulation. And like I already said, the sculpt on this figure is really phenomenal, really captures the likeness of the suit from the show. And I will say, it probably would have been nice if there were some crease folds throughout the areas on the arms and legs, just to make it look a bit more like a suit. But I can understand that because this is pretty much the first Shinkocchou figure to release, I guess the technology and stuff wasn't quite there at the time. But overall, this is still a really nice representation of the character. But there are some minor faults that I do have with this figure. So it's mainly with the seam line. So you can see the seam line runs across his head like so. It's quite noticeable, but because it's on a darker colour, it doesn't really stand out too much. And the seam lines do continue down to the shoulders like so. And you can even see some fake seam lines that run down the arm. And there's also quite a bit of a scuff on his chin here. So it seems like when they disconnected the part to attach, they didn't quite cleanly cut it. So overall, it's a bit noticeable, but there isn't really much I can do about it. But other than those little minor seam lines, this overall figure looks really nice and really captures the likeness of the character. But I will say this is quite an older figure now, so the aftermarket price for this figure is pretty insane. I had to pay quite a bit for this figure, but Again, if you are a fan of this character, then I'm pretty sure it will definitely be worth the price. But that's my review. Thank you for watching and enjoy some pictures.